it's Dusti Martin with Platinum Living Realty, jumping in to give you your monthly market update for the town of Paradise Valley. It's currently July 7th, 22. So buckle up, let's go. All right, let's just jump right into it. We are seeing a big shift around the valley, but I gotta say, I feel like Paradise Valley, for some reason, is a little more insulated from it than other parts of the valley. And we're gonna cover all of that. So make sure you wait and watch to the end to see what the really high-end luxury market is doing in Paradise Valley. To be honest, that's most of you. All right, our active listings in Paradise Valley are down 21.5% over this time last year, but our sold listings are only down 52.9% over this time last year. So keep that in mind. Our median sale price, price per square foot, is actually up 19.9% over this time last year. It's not as big as some of the other gains around the valley, but to be honest, Paradise Valley had several months in the last year that saw 40, 50, 60% appreciation over the previous year. And so it's got to cool off sometimes. Keep in mind, normal appreciation in a normal year is only 2 to 4%. And here we are knocking on the door of 20%. And it's been that way for about 3 years now, over 15, 18, 20% for about 3 years. So keep that in mind. That is still a great number. It's not as great as last year or the year before, but that's not a problem. Like I said, it can't last forever. Our months of supply is up 66.9% over this time last year, which, to be honest, it sounds scary, but we're still inside seller's market territory at 3.3 months of inventory, meaning if your home's priced appropriately, marketed appropriately, it should sell in about 3 months and an extra week and a half. Put it that way. So keep that in mind. It's not something where, unless the property is just really a screaming deal and is the prettiest girl on the block with the prettiest price and has all the bells and whistles and there's nothing else like it, it's probably going to take closer to 3 months to sell your home, which really isn't bad. Like I said, 4 months or less is still a seller's market. Now, you may only see one really good, strong offer, maybe two, but that's not bad. It means that most of the negotiating power is still in your wheelhouse. However, keep in mind, buyers aren't going to necessarily be waiving appraisals at this point or waiving inspections, and they will probably most likely be asking for repairs. So let's just be realistic about it. You may get the price you want, but they won't be willing to just take anything and everything at whatever price and be happy with it. You're going to have to do something to keep the deal together. All right. So even with all that said, our months of supply is up a lot, but our median days on market is down 16.2% over this time last year. Last year, it was taking us about 37 days to close these loans and these deals in Paradise Valley. Now it's only taking us 31, which tells me if your home is listed and priced and marketed appropriately, you should be done and out the door in about 31 days, right? So it's also telling me that homes are selling faster and for more money than they did last year, despite how much more inventory we have. The scary thing about that is even though our inventory is up, the buyers are still going crazy. You just have to be a little more competitive with the other listings in your neighborhood to get your house to be chosen by those buyers. It's also showing us that if the comps are here for your house and you're pricing way up here, buyers aren't going to take it. But the minute it comes down and is pricing right in line with where it should be, they're popping off and selling for roughly 100% of list price, or maybe even a little more based on the marketing of the home. So with all that said, statistically, you should be looking at about, a little over 3 months from start to finish. But we know that they're selling faster, and the average days on market is still only 31 days. It's less than it was last year. So that just tells us the buyers are hungry. They're just not seeing a whole lot that appeases to them. So keep that in mind. Now, let's go over to our price point breakdown in our buyers and sellers. If you're a buyer, you need to pay attention because you don't want to be overpricing, but you also don't want to be naive if you are likely to be in a buyer's market if you're likely to be in a multiple offer scenario. Sellers, you need to be more cognizant of what's happening in your specific price point. And that way you're not demanding too much or pricing inappropriately. So let's skip all the way down to the $200,000 to $300,000 price range. We're a true statistical zero for both $200,000 to $300,000 and $300,000 to $500,000 in Paradise Valley. That is as hot of a seller's market as you can get. And to be honest, we rarely have inventory in those price points for Paradise Valley anymore. So keep that in mind. Then we look to the $500,000 to $700,000 price range. You're at only 2 weeks of inventory. So if you're a buyer in these markets, you need to gird up your loins and be prepared to do battle with other buyers. Okay, the $700,000 to $1 million price range, we don't have any data. There's 2 properties on the market in that price range, but none of them sold. That tells us that they were not really appeasing to the buyers that are out there, or maybe they came in at the end of the month. Either way, we don't really have a feel for the data there, simply because there's only 2 of them, but they didn't sell. So we don't know if it's the house not selling or if it's a lack of demand. There's no way to know really until one of them sells, and then we'll have something to calculate. Then we look at the $1 to $3 million price range, which is really kind of the starting bread and butter Paradise Valley listing. You're at 2.58 months of supply, so just over 2.5 months of supply, and that is still a really strong seller's market. But again, like I said, you should only be expecting 1 or 2 really solid offers, and it may take, about 2 months to sell your home, or if it's really right on the money, you could be out of there in 30 days. Now, when we look at the $3 million price range, we're at only 4.5 months of supply. So you're like a half a step outside seller's market territory, but it's not a totally even stable market either. And it's definitely not a buyer's market. In that price range, you're going to see people who are willing to make a good offer close to or at list price, but they're not going to waive their repairs. They're not going to waive their appraisals, and they're going to want to barter with you a little bit more. So that's why it's going to be really important for you to price the home appropriately and make sure you're well aware of any issues that may come up on an inspection report. If you have any questions about what your home would sell for in today's market, or what it looks like in the part of Paradise Valley that you are looking to buy in, go ahead and give me a call at 480-717-9405 or visit my website at dustimartinrealtor.com.